Good evening. This is 5 Minutes with David. And we just finished here at the center a full weekend retreat called The Journey's End on Star Trek movies and TV episodes. And it was deep. And I just feel hearing guided just to share a little bit about the power of thought and collaboration. These are things that I've been learning for quite a while now, a few years anyhow, but it takes time to be ready, I think, for the messages to sink in. And I was never really a Star Trek fan, but I am now. The weekend was awesome. One of the TV episodes was about the power of thought. And the Enterprise ended up going at a warp speed faster than ever imagined it possibly could. They ended up 1 billion light years away from Earth, or from the world, the galaxy, Milky Way, and they didn't know how to get back. And it turned out that one of the passengers was a traveler, symbolizing the Holy Spirit. And he helped everyone see that it was the power of thought that did the impossible. And with that recognition, most of the crew members started having experiences of illusory experiences that they thought were real. They created right in front of themselves on the starship in different places. And it became clear to them that their thoughts were really powerful, more so than they ever knew. And the question was by the captain, can you get us back home? And the traveler said, I think I can. So as he went into a meditative state to do that, the captain said over the PA system to everyone to focus their thoughts on their duties at hand and to focus their thoughts on the well-being of the traveler, like he was a loved one. And it was just so beautiful that this was announced by the captain, and by the way, the starship was returned home safely and the traveler went on his merry way. And it just really helped it sink in even deeper how powerful my thoughts are. And what I'm realizing here at the center, that it's not just the conscious thoughts, because manifesting something I have the power to do. But what I'm learning here is it's the power of the hidden thoughts, the thoughts below my level of awareness, the desires that are running and ruling my life. And if I never look at them, if I don't look at them, then I'm not going to be able to release them and to heal my mind. And Jesus is showing us that the fast way to remove these desires for the world of form, the desires for all of the thoughts, feelings, ideas, emotions, concepts, everything that I'm experiencing here, the so-called pleasure, but the pain and the suffering, if I don't release these and let them go, bring them to the light, these desires will take me to death and then into another experience, dream experience. So one of the most important things that I can do and that we are doing here is to collaborate together with Jesus, to look at the hidden desires. And it's so important because he knows which ones to pick apart first, and then the next, and the next, and the next, to create a domino effect. He says it is absolutely the fastest way to heal the mind. I mean, he showed us that it's warp speed and compared to not looking at desires. And I heard it said that The Holy Spirit says to look and do not judge. And that's what Kay teaches us here. To look with neutrality and see that it's not true. Offer forgiveness. See that it's not true and just bring it to the light and let it go. And that eliminates the need for extended time in emotional distress. Once the desire is gone, the roots are gone, the emotions go, and there's a healing. But the ego says to judge and do not look. And that's the ego's trick, to keep us trapped in the world, making everything real, so that it can take pleasure in all of the pain that we suffer from. And what's interesting is in the movie Star Trek Beyond, at the end, the Enterprise had to save the Federation outpost from a swarm of attackers. It was a storm. There were thousands of small attack ships that were headed for the Federation outpost, and the starship knew that they couldn't beat them by fighting, so they had to collaborate. And they came up with a solution that they could disarm the weapons and the systems on these ships by playing music at a certain frequency that would jam everything. But they had to get close enough so that these little attack ships could hear it or could pick it up. So it was determined that they were going to have to fly right into the middle and right through the storm. It was a cloud. It was like a hurricane. And it looked like certain death, but they trusted it. And they turned on the music, hit the frequency, and they flew right into the middle of the swarm, the storm of all the attackers, and everything was disarmed. And they all went away. And what was beautiful about that was, and the other Star Trek movies, was that the crew they were willing to always put themselves in danger for the mission to accomplish what was decided needed to be accomplished. And, there was risk of death all the time. But when they collaborated, the mission was accomplished and they made it home safely. Now, here on Earth, when we're looking at these desires, or when we're going through our emotional outbursts, it's painful. And when we decide to look at the desires, knowing that that's the fast way to relieve and release everything, there's nothing that can harm us. To look at a desire, even though it can be painful, it can't hurt us. It can't hurt me. It can't harm me. It can't do anything to me. And what I'm finding is that when I do this, I'm able to walk right through the storm and dismantle and disengage the pain and get the miracle with Jesus, and everything goes away. But the only way that I can be hurt is if I decide not to look, because then I'm putting the ego in charge. And we've seen over and over again in the world all of the damage and the pain and the suffering that not only others go through, but I go through on my own and have gone through. And so there is no danger in looking, and it is the fastest way. And by joining with my mighties and collaborating with Jesus, it's always a win-win situation. The healing occurs, and it's just a matter of choosing. What do I want to do? Do I want to be a slave to my thoughts, or do I choose to join and go through the storm and see it through, get the miracles, and heal? Jesus says this is the fastest way, and it can be at warp speed if I choose, and I choose. So that's my share. 5 minutes with David. Thank you.